Hi everyone, I am back today with another Q&A. I'm going to call it Q&A instead of Conversations with Katie. One, it's easier to say, and two, it kind of explains the video better. These are all of your questions you submitted to me within the last video and a couple videos previously. However, there are no diet questions in this video simply because that's getting its own video, which will be coming soon. So no diet questions included here, just the other questions you submitted. How important are leg length to torso length proportions in ballet? I know that long limbs are more desirable as they create a better line, but will having average or short legs in proportion to my torso prevent me from getting into and possibly getting scholarships for prestigious ballet schools? A lot of people get so caught up in your lines and thinking that their body's wrong or whatnot. I think in this day and age, body type isn't as important as it used to be. Back in the olden days, balancing like the long neck, long legs, long torso, and it was a lot more important than it is now. I think in this day and age, your technique is more important. Your lines in that you are turned out, you can point your feet, your arabesque looks good. They're not going to say, oh, well, her legs are too short or her torso's too long or whatnot. It's just a matter of how that affects your dancing. So if you can dance with your proportions, great. And if you have good technique, that's what's important. For example, I have a very, very short torso. My ribs and my waist are practically about 3 inches apart. So I do have very, very long legs, but I don't have that long torso that you see in some other ballerinas. So I've learned to work with it, and I've learned how to make my lines look good with it, and work my technique around it. So I think that's more important than the length of your legs. Going along with that previous question, if there was an ideal body type for ballet, what would it be? And would you be more likely to get into a company if you had it? To be honest, the thing about ballet companies, the body type they're looking for is obviously slender. I talked to the Huffington Post about body image in ballet. If you missed it, I will link it below. And one of the things I said, the reality of the situation is whether we like it or not, dancers have to be thin. They don't need to be anorexic, they don't need to be skeletal, but they do need to be thin. Simply because boys have to lift you. You have to be able to get off the ground. For example, one other thing I said in that article is that when I was very, very heavy with my illness, things hurt. I couldn't get my leg as high. I couldn't jump as high. It just was a lot more painful being on point. So you do have to be thin, but again, body type doesn't matter so much. Nowadays, there are so many different types, long legs, short legs. It honestly doesn't matter, again, as long as you're slender and you have good technique. I would love to dance full time. I'm from Australia, but my parents are really strict on education and want me to complete year 12. But all I want to do is dance. How can I convince them that going full time would be a good option for me? I get this question a lot from people, how to convince your parents, how to get them behind you. I was very fortunate that my parents supported me in whatever I wanted to do. But if you're having trouble with your parents, I think the way to go about it is to first prove it to them that this is your passion. They're probably not going to believe you and want to back you if you say it once or twice and, don't really show that much interest in it. I think the way to show them is to really be doing everything you can, doing all your exercises, show them that you're in class or try to be in class every day, that you're really into ballet, you're learning about different ballets, different dancers, you're researching. That's a big one. So just, you really have to prove what you're saying. You can't just say, I think I want to be a dancer, and not prove it to them. So I would do everything you can to show them and not just say it. Actions speak louder than words. So really make sure you're doing everything you can and that they see you're doing everything you can. I'm just starting ballet. Not exactly, because I took a couple of classes, and I'm only 13 years old. Do you think I'll ever be able to be on point? Absolutely. I have known adult ballet students in their 30s that put themselves on point and continue to dance on point. Now, they'll never be professionals, but they did put themselves on point and they got there. It will take a lot of strengthening and a lot of patience. I have the point shoe strengthening video. I've got TheraBand exercises in there, a lot of releve exercises. I encourage you all to do those. That will help you. Also, your basic ballet technique will help you. Make sure your alignment is correct, because if you don't have good alignment, you cannot possibly expect to get on point correctly. So just make sure you're doing your regular ballet classes as well and as precise as you can, because that will build more strength for you to get on point. But absolutely 13, you can get on point. I know you all know Misty Copeland. She started ballet at 13. So I would definitely say you'll get on point if you just started at 13. I would like to know if the chances of getting into a good ballet school or being hired by a company may be lower for a ballerina that has a visible tattoo. That's hard to say, because I do know ballet dancers with tattoos. A lot of male ballet dancers have tattoos, more than you would think. I do know a couple of ballerinas that have them on the back of their neck, on their lower back. I don't think it's going to completely ruin your chances. I think obviously if you have one, it might be an issue for that particular company. But if you make your case and say, I can cover it up, I can do this, I can do that, I don't think there's any big problem there. If you're a good enough dancer, they'll want you despite that, just so long as you can cover it up. Everyone is always telling me I'm really skinny. When I look in the mirror, I can't always see that. When I look at other dancers, my legs don't seem to be as muscular or toned as them, and I'm not sure if I should be dieting or just doing some leg strengthening exercises. I will talk about the dieting in the dieting video. I don't encourage anybody under 18 to diet. I don't think it's a good idea. I think if people are telling you you're thin, you probably are, but I would do some leg strengthening exercises, not so much to tone your legs, but for your strength in ballet. Ballet will automatically tone you anyway. It's part of what you do. You can't not get toned if you're holding your leg up for 30 seconds or doing a bunch of releves. That's just going to naturally happen. So I would focus on doing your exercises to support your ballet technique, and then you will in fact tone your muscles. Because if you're just so focused on what you look like, what you look like, what you look like, I gotta tone, I gotta tone, I gotta tone, that might, it's basically a mind game. So if you think, I'm gonna do exercises that's going to really help, that are going to help my ballet technique, you will inevitably get toned. Dieting, make sure, if you want to tone, make sure you're eating really, really well. Again, I'll go into this in diet videos, but if some of you are thin and you don't think you can see a lot of muscle, I would watch your sugar and I'd watch your dairy. Sometimes, especially for me, I've experienced that when I eat a lot of dairy, I feel like I get really puffy. So just cut back, maybe do a couple of experiments. Sometimes people have problems with gluten. You'll get really puffy even though you're thin. So just experiment with your foods. Make sure you're not having some sort of, not allergic reaction, but you're, having a problem with a certain food that can sometimes puff you up. But I would focus on doing your exercises for your technique rather than for strengthening, because I think that will be far more motivating to you if you can do it for your ballet class and for your career, rather than my legs aren't getting toned, it's just a mind game. You have to constantly play mind games with yourself. Do you have some tips for getting in shape easily? Food-wise, again, just be very, very healthy. Do not try and do a diet of 500 calories a day. Do not try and, do something ridiculous. That's not going to work. It backfires. Even if it doesn't backfire right away, it'll backfire way down the road. But as far as ballet goes, the thing I love to do to get in shape very, very quickly is to, in ballet class, don't stop moving. If you're at bar, do the bar, and while the teacher's giving the next combination, obviously make sure you're paying attention, but be stretching, be moving, because the more you move, the more your body's going to get in shape. In the center, do the combination as many times as you can. If there's a first group and second group situation, that's one thing, but if it's like jumps where you're going back to front or across the floor, do it as many times as you can, because that's what's going to get you in shape. Doing it one time doesn't work. My favorite class, Nancy Bielski's class at Steps, which I'm currently taking, we do everything at least twice. You do the combinations more than once. That's what's going to get your body in shape. Make sure you're supplementing with Pilates or cardio or yoga, some other form of supplemental exercise. Just the more you can do, the faster you'll get in shape. What do you think about Gaynor Minden Pointe shoes? I was thinking about trying them because my feet have high arches and are strong, so my Pointe shoes break really quickly. What do you think? Do you think it's cheating to wear them, and have you ever tried them? Let me start by saying no, I have never tried them. I think it's a personal preference thing. A lot of people love Gaynor Mindens, a lot of people hate them. I know there are a lot of professional famous dancers that wear them. The thing I have heard though, time and time again from people who wear them, that you all need to be careful with, is that once you go into Gaynor Mindens and you start wearing them, it is excruciatingly difficult to go back to any other shoe. The way they're made, the way you work, the way you dance, something about them will train your foot entirely differently. So if a company says, I don't want you in Gaynor Mindens, it's going to be exceedingly difficult to go back. So if you are trying to get in a company, what I would do is wear other Pointe shoes first, and then if they allow them, then wear them, because again, you will have a really hard time going back. Do I like them? Personal preference thing. I think sometimes they look good on people, sometimes they don't. I think, Alina Kujukaru wears them. I think they look beautiful on her feet. Some other dancers, not gonna name names, not so much. But again, it's the type of foot you have. But I would advise you all, if you're a student, to not wear them. Because if a company says you cannot wear Gaynor Mindens, you are going to have a really hard time getting out of them. So just really be aware of that. I was just wondering if you had any tips for back flexibility. Back flexibility is very, very tricky. I really warn people about doing too many back stretches because you could really, really hurt yourself. You could put your back out, you could, have a disc problem. The key to arabesques and getting your leg up to the back, which I will do a video on this, is strength. It doesn't matter how bendy you are, if you don't have the strength to hold the leg up, it's not gonna go up. So I would advise you to get in Pilates. Sound like a broken record with Pilates. Get in Pilates, do a lot of back, reverse crunches where you're laying on the mat and you just lift your back up and hold and go down and lift the back up and hold and go down. Just anything that works those muscles, even, your lats. So it doesn't matter how bendy you are, you have to have the strength. And as far as getting your flexibility, this sounds like a cop-out, but it's not. I would get a massage. A lot of people don't know how tight they are in the racks. I hold all my tension in my back, and when I'm really stressed or it's really tight, I cannot get my leg up. But once I've gotten a massage, it really, really helps. Again, I will do a video. I know I'm promising you all these exercise videos, and they are coming. The problem is, now that I'm back in New York, it's harder to get studios. I have to rent them. I have to figure it out. I have to make sure, it's harder. I can't just go to my ballet school and film. So I will be doing these videos once I get to figure out the studio situation. That's the holdup here. So I will do one on back flexibility. Also extensions, you've all been asking me about that. It's just a matter of finding studios right now here and renting them. It's a process. So I will get there, I promise. Can you share how to get the right leotard for your body type and the right color for you? I've gotten this question a lot since I started talking about it in my leotard videos. To be honest, I think it's trial and error. A lot of what looks good on you is your own personal opinion, what you feel good in, what you feel confident in. For example, I look very, very good in any shade of blue, pastels, red, white, black, cream. I look horrible in orange, yellow, and green. It completely washes me out. So what I would encourage you all to do as far as color goes is get in front of a mirror with really, really good lighting and just hold up different colors to you and see what your skin does. For example, because I'm really, really pale, when I wear orange, yellow, and green, my skin turns orange, yellow, and green with those colors reflecting. So to find your type of color. You can also do little, silly things like take a quiz online. What colors look good on me? And then you enter, your skin color, your eye color, your hair, that kind of thing. You can do something like that, but it's really just a personal preference. And I would hold up different leotards, different colors in the mirror and see which one makes your eyes pop and your skin, or some that make you look sick. Don't wear the ones that make you look sick. For me, it's green. So that's, again, it's a trial and error. And now to get the right style of leotard for your body. Again, it's a personal preference. I don't look good in really, really scoop necks or halters. I do look good in the square necks, pinched, V's. Again, it's just a matter of figuring out what makes you look good. What you can do is if you have different styles of leotards, take pictures of yourself in the mirror and see which ones look good and which ones don't. This is the day and age of the selfie, so you can. It's more about what you feel comfortable in rather than what's right and what's wrong. So just whatever makes you feel the best, truly. My left leg is so much stronger in pointe shoes than my right. It's also more flexible in splits. Can I lift it higher than my right one? And my grand jetés are way better if the front leg is the left leg. Can you help me somehow? Again, I will do flexibility once I figure out the studio situation. As far as flexibility, and this goes along with my next question, I can't lift my legs high. I'm struggling to lift them even to 90 degrees. Do you have any special tips on how to improve it? Like the back flexibility I just talked about, unless you have the strength to hold your legs up, doesn't matter if you are a bendy, string bean, it will not stay up. So you really need to have very, very strong legs, strong core. I like to tell people when you're thinking of a développé side to think of the supporting hip. Because if you grip the working thigh and you try and get it up, and what happens is it puts a lot of pressure on the leg that's going up. If you think of the leg that is your supporting leg, it takes the pressure off that hip, and I swear to you, you can get it higher. Same thing for front and back. Think of the supporting hip in your développés and your extensions. Now, grand jeté, I love grand jeté. It's one of my favorite steps, and a lot of people ask me how I get over a split. The key to grand jeté is not your legs, it's your foot. It's your front foot. If you think, throw the front foot up, and I'll probably get shot for saying this because according to the ballet experts, I'm wrong, but this is what works. If you really think of pointing the front foot and flicking it out, you will get the split. That's what I think of to get my past 180 degree split, is the front foot. So don't worry about hiking the thigh, because if you think about the thigh, you're already late. You have to think of the front foot taking you up. So try that next time you do a grand jeté, really think of the front foot. I will explain this again in another video, but really think about your strength. Getting the strength in the supporting leg, getting the strength in your legs, and then for grand jetés, it's the front foot. It's all about the front foot. Because if you think of the back leg, which a lot of people think you should think of the back leg, you're going to be tilting down. So you want to think of the front leg getting you up and getting you into that split. So just keep thinking of that. Again, I will do a further video with explanations of this, but I want you all to start thinking of your supporting leg in your développés rather than the working leg. Even in the center, I find that I have so much more control and balance in adagio in the center if I'm thinking of the supporting leg rather than getting the working leg up. I just recently started Pointe, and I was wondering if you had any tips on getting up over your box. That's a very good question, because a lot of times people have a hard time getting completely over the shoe. One thing I advise you all to do is to make sure you're in the right size of shoe and make sure it's a good brand for you. A lot of brands don't work with people's feet. You really have to figure out what shoe works for you. So I encourage you all to find a person who can fit you in a dance store or somewhere that you can go that they're knowledgeable of what they're talking about and can really fit you. Try different shoes on you, because that can make all the difference. There are some brands of shoes I've tried even now as a professional where I can't get over. So it just depends on your foot. But also I encourage you to do your strengthening exercises, TheraBand, roll out your feet, because if your feet are tight, they grip. And if they grip, you can't get over. I have my feet and pointe work strengthening exercise videos, both the overview and the workout. I will link them below. But again, it's just strengthening, and make sure you find the right shoe. A lot of people think it's their fault. It's not. Like I just said, there are some shoes that I still can't get over. So make sure you have the right shoe for your foot. Don't get hung up on the brand. A lot of people say, well, I need to wear Freed because Freed is the shoe everybody wears. It's not about the brand. Make sure you have one that looks good on you, because okay, so everybody has Freeds, but they don't work on your feet. Do you want to have a shoe that doesn't look good even though it's a Freed? So make sure you have a shoe that works for your foot. I have quite a good dance education, but I want to have it even better, and I just don't want to leave my family. I've already traveled about 4 hours a day. What do I need to do? By the way, I live in Holland and I really want to go to New York. If I get accepted, would you recommend I go there? Very, very good question. Not leaving your family is very, very tricky as far as, and also traveling 4 hours a day. Again, that's why I'm here for you all. I know I've been gone for a month for good reason, but I have all of the workouts on here. I have all the strengthening exercises, more to come. So I try and be that resource for you if you don't have something you can do or someplace you can go. I would say find a really, really good ballet school, maybe in your area, or take some private lessons if you can. Also, as far as New York goes, a lot of people get caught up in thinking, I have to be in New York, I have to be in New York. There are a million fantastic companies not in New York. P&B in Seattle, San Francisco in San Francisco, Miami City Ballet in Miami. There's just so many companies, and not even American companies. Royal Ballet in London, Royal Danish in Copenhagen. You know, there's so many options. New York is a great place if you want to dance in one of these companies, but I always encourage people to really think about where they want to dance and to try and go there. For example, if you want to dance at P&B, you should probably try and go to the P&B school rather than think, you know, do 15 other places. You really think about where you want to be and try and go there. I really wanted to be in New York City Ballet, and the only way to be New York City Ballet is to go to the School of American Ballet here in New York. So I really wanted to go, so I had to be there. So I focused on going to New York. But if you are open to suggestions and open to other companies and not really sure where you want to go, you don't have to be in New York. There are plenty of other brilliant ballet schools out there. So do you have to be in New York? No. Is it a good place? Obviously, yes. But there are so many other good places, not just New York. Would you ever offer private lessons in New York City? I have gotten this from quite a few of you asking me to do private lessons. I don't do private lessons at this point. I'm here to focus on me and my career and getting in shape and going to Pilates and doing class. So as of this point, no, I'm not doing private lessons. Will that change? Possibly. I will let you all know. But again, I'm still at the point where I have a career in front of me, so I have to focus on that. As much as I love you all, this is as much private lessons as I can give you right now is here on YouTube, because otherwise it would just completely overwhelm my life. So right now, no. That's why I'm doing this YouTube channel, though, to give you as much as I can. I'm 13 and I've only recently started up ballet again. Do you have any tips as to how I can balance a lot of schoolwork with dance? Very, very good question. I had that problem. I went to a preparatory school when I was younger, and the homework was just absolutely ridiculous. And we were rehearsing every night because I had a youth company at my ballet school, and it was a nightmare. Thankfully, I figured out how to manage my time. My dad's really, really good at that. He is Mr. Schedule, so he really helped me. I would sit down. Your parent can help you, or you can do it yourself, doesn't matter. And really try and plan out your day. Figure out when you can do your homework. Figure out how much dance you have, how much you want to warm up for your classes. Can you warm up and do homework at the same time? Can you get up early? Is there, you have to sort of plan out your day, because that's not something anybody else can answer for you. So really make a schedule if you have to. If you have to do it minute by minute, my dad sometimes does that. We always kid him, but he's right. We're leaving the house at 8:17, but he's completely right. And he always gets everything done. He never misses out on anything, and he never is completely scattered. So I'd make a schedule and really try and stick to it. And that's really the only way you can balance your school. You do have to decide which matters more. Obviously school is very, very, very important, and you need to get as good of grades as you can. But if you really want to be a dancer, obviously dance can't be on the back burner. So it is very, very difficult. But I would encourage you to make a schedule and see how you can work around it. And ask your parents. They'll be happy to help you. Trust me. If you say, Mom, Dad, I really want to figure out my day and plan my day out, will you help me? I pretty much guarantee you they'll say yes. That will also impress them a lot. So just make your own schedule and see how well you can balance your time that way. So those are all of the questions I have today. Again, I will be doing a completely separate diet Q&A video. That's why this video wasn't quite as long as they usually are. Also, if you have other questions that you want to have appear in Dance Spirit Magazine, you can write me at dearkatie@dancespiritmagazine.com to ask a question. Those that column starts in January. I love you all so much. Again, workout videos are coming. As studio's situation here is difficult, but I will be doing more. There's not really going to be a schedule. I know I used to be doing Tuesdays and Fridays. At this point, though, I will try and get videos up as much as I can. There's really not going to be a schedule, so stay tuned for all of those. More, all of the same things, but new things. I'm going to hopefully take the camera around New York with me a bit soon to show you some of my favorite things here. So just more things to look forward to. I love you all, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend.